Welcome to Business Notes. I'm your host, Diane Bogino. Our guest today is MJ Callaway. MJ is a certified sales professional, certified virtual presenter, motivational speaker, and corporate results catalyst. As a two-time cancer survivor, she's known for shifting staff attitudes and converting tactics into results. MJ's sales experience includes being the only female sales executive to be a top 5 producer of a national building company, selling 3 times her annual quota. Her newly released book, Bounce Up, Outpower Adversity, Boost Resilience, Rebound Higher, has been endorsed by the CEO of the Healthy Workforce Institute. Here's MJ to give us her strategies for outpowering adversity. MJ, welcome to Business Notes, and thank you for being on our show today.
Diane, thank you so much for having me. It is a delight to be here and have a conversation with you.
Yes, I've been looking forward to this because you're so interesting. So let's start with when a company hires a motivational speaker, I know why they should hire you, but I want you to tell our audience why they should hire you.
Thank you. What a way to open up the conversation. There are several reasons why I would say hire me. And let's start with in sales, in any sales team, there's usually 3 levels, 3 tiers of salespeople. So the first one is the bottom, those people that are new to sales or maybe new to the industry. They're not quite hitting their sales quota. And then on the opposite end, you have the high performers, those who are usually hitting it out of the ballpark. And then you have the middle, which I call manage the middle. And those are the people that could go either way. You know, they can either drop down or they can go up. And the reason why I would say hire me is because I've been in the trenches. I have hit every single one of those tiers, especially in my last position when I was working for a national builder. It was an on-your-site builder, which I didn't have any experience in the industry. But that's one reason I've been there. I know how to give them sales techniques. However, more importantly, I can deliver a message for them to give them more belief in themselves. So that's, especially during tough times or dark days, that's one. The other one is one of the HR directors of a billion-dollar company that had hired me, and I worked for this company for several contracts, and I did training with their top management. And he said to me after one of the classes, a half-day workshop, he said, MJ, I don't know what you do to them. He said they go in when they hear they have to take this training, they moan and groan about doing it. And then they walk out afterwards and they're laughing and smiling. What do you do to them? And it's putting a different twist on it, making it fun, but also finding out about them as we're going through. What makes them tick, you know? And I have to say, Diane, we have some fun. Whenever anyone is participating, I am throwing candy, snacks, and I find out what they like ahead of time. So tossing it out, and salespeople are competitive. You know, management can be competitive, so they want to be tossed whatever goodies I am sending out.
I can imagine. My goodness, what a scene that must be. Now, your new book is Bounce Up, and now how does the word bounce up differ from bounce back? And how did you come up with the title Bounce Up in your book?
So think back to maybe someone you know, or maybe you had one, those inflatable punching bags that had sand on the bottom and then usually had a clown face. Now they have lots of different faces. And you punched it and it bounced back to where you were. It never moved. It never grew. It never went anywhere. That's bounce back. Let's think about the pandemic. Let's go back to March 2020. Do you want to bounce back to March 2020? No way. You know, and as a 2-time cancer survivor, there's no way I want to bounce back to 2016 when I had that first prognosis that was awful. You know, no way. bounce up. So let's think about a basketball player who's in the paint or close to the paint, ready to get that rebound. He jumps up higher than anyone else there. He grabs that ball, he brings it down. Now he has control of the ball, the next play, and possibly the game, depending upon where the team is in the game. So that's taking control, and that's bounce up.
MJ, you, in addition to your speaking, you also do workshops. You do some limited coaching now because I know you're so busy. You also have some online courses. Could you just give us a little bit of information about those topics?
Absolutely. So once the pandemic happened, I knew I needed to go from, on site. Most of my training beforehand was on site, same as speaking was on site. And like everyone else who needed to, shift their business, and I like to say shift or expand it, I knew I needed to do it. So I was doing some virtual programs with some webinars and some facilitation. So I knew I needed to move to the next level with it. But Diane, also, I knew I needed to do this 4 years ago, because that's when, in 2016 was when I had received the first diagnosis. And I'm like, MJ, okay, you need to have some online, passive income. And I kind of didn't, I put it on the back burner. But life is unpredictable. We don't know what will happen. So knowing that with life being so unpredictable in so many ways, I really needed to do that. So I had taken my sales program and I've created a sales trivia program, which is so much fun because I send cards to the company ahead of time with the answers, and they're all color coded too. So I'll ask a question and then I'll say 1, 2, 3, everybody holds up. It is so much fun to see the different colors, to see who knows what, and it's in a safe environment. And then after I get their answers, I give a little bit of some wisdom about that question. So they're getting training, yet it's in a fun environment. It takes the snooze out of Zoom or virtual. So that has been one way. I started a group coaching program for entrepreneurs who were stuck, who either their sales teams were stuck or they were stuck. So it's a business strategy group program that has topics every single week, every single session. So it isn't all talk. They're actually creating some strategies. So those are two. And then I created Bounce Up University, which is an online platform with digital courses. And my first course will be coming out mid-March.
Great, great. You heard it here first, folks. Okay. So
You did.
MJ, what was the push for you to leave a multi-six-figure position to start your own business?
That I will try to put it in a nutshell. So a little more than 10 years ago, I joined a support group because my former spouse had an alcohol addiction. And at the time, as you said, I was a top performer. I was selling 3 times my sales quota in a male-dominated company. It was a national company. So one night I went to the support group, and this one just happened to be all women. And the one participant had mentioned she was being physically abused and she was stuck. She was in a dead-end job and she didn't have any way to support herself or her kids, so she couldn't leave. And it was, as you can imagine, heartbreaking. That circumstances, that vision that night haunted me. It stayed with me. I could not let go of it because I knew it could have been me. And I was blessed and I was so grateful because I had communication skills. I had sales skills. I had drive. I could get myself out of that position because that's one of the reasons why I left my 20-some year marriage. So with it, I thought, what can I do to help her? And I had taught some classes at a community college. So I knew how to create content. And I put together a sales program. And I was already training new hires in the company I was in already. So it was taking this to a different level. So I created this sales workshop and I invited her and anyone else in that support group who wanted to pick up some skills. And it was awesome. I felt like I had such a high because I was helping someone else. I was giving them some tools they needed. And it put a spark in my head about, well, what if you did this on your own? Instead of you growing someone else's company, what if you grew your own company? And that was the beginning of creating my own company.
My goodness. Oh, talk about a push. Good grief.
It was. And I still think about her. We've lost touch, but I still think about her. I mean, that's how dramatic that situation was. And just listening to her, I can still hear her tone of voice. So, which goes to show our tone of voice has such an impact on what we do.
MJ, what is a corporate results catalyst?
I go into a company that could be stuck, or they have a change, or they need encouragement, or a sales manager needs to find a way to engage their sales team. I help them create results. I help them come up with strategies that will help them move the needle, whether it is increasing performance or revenue. I come in and I help them create methods or a framework for them to create more results.
Yeah, results are good for sure.
Yes.
I was watching one of your videos and you talked about how a salesperson has to bring the customer down to a low before they can bring them up to a high. Would you talk a little bit about that strategy for me?
So with it's finding that low, is finding their pain point. And you'll hear that every salesperson says that. Here's where salespeople miss is having that person say it out loud so that the customer, the buyer, hears themselves say it. Because without saying it out loud, it might be in their head, they might believe it, they might not believe it. But when they say it out loud, then it brings, it brings a level of acceptance and awareness that they really do need help. And without them saying it out loud, they might not truly believe that they need the help. So that's where taking them to that low, having them sit with that knowledge too. The other reason why, if we say it, have them say it out loud, is they might say they need this, A. However, once they say it out loud, they had miscommunicated before. They say it out loud and now they can correct it if it was miscommunication so that they can know I really need B, not A. So it not only helps the salesperson, but it also helps the buyer.
Great technique. I'm stealing that. Okay.
Awesome.
Now, you believe that every setback, every adversity has opportunities. Would you tell our audience about that, please?
Or the first part of that is to understand that life is unpredictable and we will always be hit with challenges. Some will be bigger than others. And when we can acknowledge that life is unpredictable, it shifts our mind to be able to accept it and to be able to get out of problem solving and get into solution solving. Because if we're stuck in the problem, we're never going to see the opportunities. However, when we start thinking about, okay, here I am, now what can I do to get out of it? What can I do? What's my next step? Now we're thinking about how we can move that needle, how we can get results. So we're in solution base. And because of that, it opens opportunities. I've had cancer twice. Cancer visited me twice. I'd like to switch that. And through it, I defined my brand. I was always a person who wanted to uplift others, to give them tools, to give them ideas, advice on how they could succeed. However, I hadn't had it defined. And then through the journey, which I call the pink pumpkin journey, going through a magic wand, which was what I called chemo, going through that journey, it enabled me to define that because I went to every single appointment dressed as if I was going on a date with my future self. So when we think about it as opportunities, it helps us, see those opportunities. Let's talk about the restaurant industry right now with the pandemic. Here in Pennsylvania, we were down to 25% occupancy in a restaurant, too many times to count. And I loved seeing all the restaurants get creative between greenhouses and the dome tents and finding ways, tents with sides and heaters inside, all the ways that they could expand out into the parking lot that ended up creating more space for them to serve more. And what's great about it, Diane, is once we get back to 100% occupancy for them, every restaurant has a busy time. So now they've added additional space they'll be able to use during their busy time when we get past all of this opportunity.
Yeah, great opportunity for sure. So how does somebody know when they need you, MJ?
Thank you for that question. So it goes to if there's change, some type of change or disruption in the company, or there is a change coming, bring me in before that change. If there's a slow season, and I'll use an example that I came across in November. It was early November. I was part of a retention summit for manufacturers. And through it, after I gave my 30-minute talk, there was question and answers. And there was a sales manager who said, MJ, it's November. We have salespeople that are not going to hit their quota. They're not going to hit incentives. What do you do? How do you get them to be, to be more motivated? Because they were hitting a slump. So a sales slump is another one. So with it is bringing me in for that would definitely be one, because it's about engaging them. It isn't about saying, sell more. It isn't about making more calls. It's about engaging them. So if you're in a sales slump or you have a sales team that isn't motivated, that's a great time to bring me in because I can help them. I can help you engage them. I can help you motivate them, give them the tools they need to get out of stuck and get back into being or thinking that they are successful. I guess when it comes down to it, I give them that belief in themselves.
That is important in everything, especially sales.
Yes.
MJ, how do you prefer people get in touch with you if they want to work with you?
They can definitely reach out to me by email, which is mj@mjcallaway.com. Now, I do have to say it's Callaway like Callaway Golf. It's Callaway. Sometimes people want to put an O in there. Yeah, right. So that's a great way, check out my website. Also connect with me on social media. I'm on Twitter, I'm on Instagram, I'm on LinkedIn, and I'm on Facebook.
Okay, great. Well, I'm inspired, and I'm sure the audience is as well. Thank you so much for your time today, MJ. I appreciate you coming on the show.
Diane, it has been such a delight. Thank you for enabling me to share my message with others.
Thank you. Thank you for watching Business Notes. We've been speaking with MJ Callaway, certified sales professional, certified virtual presenter, motivational speaker, and corporate results catalyst. I'm your host, Diane Bogino, bringing you business ideas you can bank on.